Part 8. The Circle of Altitude. The young eagle's first storm. The younger eagle, newly airborne and still unaccustomed to the vastness of the open sky, soon faced his first true test. The horizon darkened without warning. Clouds gathered in dense formations, folding over one another like thoughts heavy with doubt. Winds rose in wild currents, howling through the canyon walls, and rain struck his feathers with a relentless force that blurred both vision and direction. For a fleeting moment, the memory of the coop returned with unsettling clarity. The warmth of enclosure, the predictability of routine, the dull comfort of never venturing beyond what was known. Safety had once seemed sufficient. Smallness had once felt secure. Yet something within him resisted retreat. His wings, though young, carried an instinct older than fear. They remembered the law inscribed in sinew and bone. Storms are not obstacles, but staircases. Resistance is not punishment. It is preparation. He tilted his body into the wind rather than away from it. Each gust threatened to wrench him downward, to spin him into chaotic descent. Yet each correction strengthened him. Muscles strained, lungs labored, vision narrowed. Still, he did not fold. Through endurance, he discovered what Aquila had once embodied. Altitude is not merely the act of rising above the earth. It is the discipline of remaining aloft when descent appears inevitable. It is the quiet decision to continue when retreat is easier. When at last the storm began to thin, the younger eagle was no longer merely surviving. He was learning the architecture of resilience, the gathering on the ledge. As the clouds dispersed and light returned in fractured beams, the younger eagle descended to a rocky ledge high above the valley floor. The stone bore the marks of countless talons, evidence that others had paused there before him. It was neither nest nor fortress, but a place of reckoning. He was not alone. A hawk with a torn wing perched near the edge, his posture cautious yet dignified. A raven, once sharp-eyed and restless, now carried the fatigue of scavenging what others discarded. A fledgling trembled nearby, caught between instinct and fear, uncertain whether the sky was invitation or threat. Each bird bore evidence of falls, misjudged winds, broken trust, abandoned attempts. Some had risen too quickly and collapsed under ambition. Others had never fully believed they were meant to fly at all. Aquila, older now and measured in movement, stood among them. He did not speak immediately. His leadership was not announced. It was observed. He demonstrated stillness in a world addicted to motion. He showed patience in an age of impulsive flight. He embodied the art of waiting, not from hesitation, but from discernment. The ledge gradually transformed into sanctuary. Stories were shared not to glorify failure, but to redeem it. Wounds were acknowledged without shame. Silence was respected. Listening became an act of restoration. Here, altitude was not a competition. It was a calling. Lessons from the heights. Days turned to weeks, and the rhythms of the heights revealed themselves. The birds learned that wind has language. It announces its direction before it shifts. It signals opportunity before it lifts. To read the wind was to read circumstance without surrendering agency. They learned to rest without quitting, a distinction subtle yet essential. Rest was preparation, quitting was abandonment. The difference lay in intention. The younger eagle absorbed these lessons with growing clarity. He had once equated greatness with dominance, the highest flight, the widest wingspan, the sharpest descent. Now he recognized a more enduring measure, presence. To remain steady amid uncertainty. To persevere without spectacle. He watched Aquila closely. The old eagle's flight had slowed. His arcs were broader, his ascents deliberate rather than swift. Scars lined his wings, each one a testament to storms survived rather than avoided. Yet within his restraint lay serenity. He no longer needed to prove altitude. He embodied it. Gradually, other birds began to seek the younger eagle's counsel. They sensed in him the same awakening that had once stirred in Aquila, a transition from striving to understanding. His words were fewer than his mentors had once been, but they were grounded in lived resistance. Leadership, he discovered, is not inherited through declaration. It is conferred through endurance. The valley below. From time to time, the younger eagle would circle above the valley where he had once lived among chickens. The landscape had not changed. Dust still clung to the earth. Fences still confined movement. Routine still dictated possibility. He observed birds pecking at the ground, negotiating over fragments, shrinking their dreams to fit narrow enclosures. Some looked upward occasionally, but only briefly, as though the sky were an illusion rather than invitation. He no longer felt contempt. He felt recognition. He understood now that discomfort is not weakness. It is the first signal of expansion. It is the tension between who one has been and who one is becoming. He cried out, not as accusation, but as summons. His call carried both memory and promise. Some ignored it. Some mocked it. Yet a few hesitated, then leapt. Their first attempts were clumsy. Wings flapped unevenly. Trajectories wavered. Many stumbled back into dust before finding lift. But failure, once reframed, became instruction rather than verdict. Not all would rise. Choice remained sovereign. But those who persisted found themselves welcomed among the heights, not as followers, but as fellow ascenders. The law remains. In time, the ledge evolved into a community defined not by species, but by aspiration. Birds of many kinds gathered: hawks, ravens, falcons, even those once bound by coops and cages. Each carried scars, each carried story. They came to understand enduring truths. High places are often lonely before they are shared. Storms are unavoidable but instructive. Falls are not contradictions of flight, they are components of it. Above all, they learned that wings remember what fear forgets. The design for altitude is not granted by environment, it is embedded by nature. Aquila observed from a quiet perch. His movements were slower now, his watchfulness deeper. He understood that legacy is not preserved in conquest or acclaim. It endures in courage transmitted, in wisdom modeled, in compassion extended. The younger eagle, once uncertain and wind-tossed, now stood among those he guided, not above them, but with them. For the law remains unchanged. Altitude reveals what ground conceals. And those who dare to rise discover not merely height, but horizon. Part 8 continued the circle of altitude. The second storm, tested together. The community on the ledge had grown comfortable, not complacent, but settled. Rhythms had formed. Some scouted for currents at dawn, others mentored the newly arrived at dusk. Silence was no longer empty, it was shared understanding. It was then that the second storm came. Unlike the first, it offered warning. The wind shifted days before the clouds gathered. The air thinned. Temperature dropped. Those who had learned to read the sky sensed the coming upheaval. Fear moved through the ledge quietly. It was no longer the fear of isolation, but the fear of loss. Would the fledgling survive? Would the hawk's torn wing endure another battering? Would the fragile confidence of the newly airborne collapse under pressure? The younger eagle felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him. During his first storm, he had fought alone. Now, others looked to him, not for rescue, but for steadiness. He turned to Aquila. The old eagle did not offer strategy. He simply said, "Face the wind before it finds your back." When the storm struck, it was merciless. Sheets of rain blurred the canyon. Thunder fractured the sky. The ledge trembled beneath the force of gusts. Several birds panicked, launching prematurely into chaotic currents. The younger eagle rose, not above the storm, but into its center. "Angle your wings," he called. "Do not fight the wind's existence. Work with its direction." He demonstrated, adjusting his body against the gusts, rising briefly before descending again to guide others. The hawk stabilized first. The raven followed, awkward but determined. Even the trembling fledgling held course longer than before. Not all movements were graceful. Some collided mid-air. Some descended sharply before regaining lift. But something had changed. They were no longer individuals resisting chaos. They were a formation learning to endure together. By dawn, the storm receded. Exhaustion replaced fear. They had not escaped the tempest. They had grown through it. The younger eagle understood then that leadership is not proven in calm skies. It is forged when one remains visible in turbulence. Aquila watched silently, and for the first time, he did not need to intervene. The circle forms. In the weeks that followed, the ledge evolved into something more intentional. What had once been a resting place became a circle. They began to gather at twilight, forming a wide arc overlooking the valley. Each bird spoke, not of triumph, but of thresholds crossed. One described overcoming envy of faster wings. Another confessed to nearly abandoning flight after repeated failure. The raven admitted that scavenging had once felt safer than striving. Vulnerability, once hidden, became currency. The younger eagle facilitated not with dominance, but with inquiry. What did the wind teach you? Where did you resist when you should have adjusted? What part of the storm revealed your strength? The questions reshaped perspective. Failure became feedback. Delay became discipline. New arrivals were no longer instructed immediately. Instead, they were invited to observe. They watched how the circle operated, how silence was honored, how correction was offered without humiliation, how experience was shared without superiority. The culture of altitude was forming. The temptation of descent. Growth, however, invited new challenges. Word of the ledge spread across valleys. More birds arrived than could be meaningfully guided. Some came not for transformation, but for prestige. They wanted association with altitude without enduring ascent. A faction began to argue that the circle should formalize itself, establish ranks, assign visible symbols of achievement, measure height and duration of flight. Recognition motivates excellence, they insisted. The younger eagle felt the pull of this argument. Structure promised efficiency. Titles promised order. He brought the matter to Aquila. The old eagle responded carefully. When altitude becomes performance, integrity thins. The sky does not reward display, it responds to alignment. The younger eagle wrestled with the tension. He saw merit in organization, yet danger in hierarchy that eclipsed growth. After days of reflection, he addressed the circle. "We will not measure worth by height reached," he said. "We will measure by resilience shown and guidance offered. Those who rise highest must return lowest to lift others." Some left, dissatisfied. They sought other peaks where status was more visible. Those who remained understood. Altitude without humility becomes isolation. Aquila's final flight. Seasons shifted. Aquila's movements grew slower still. His landings required greater care. His takeoffs were deliberate acts of will. Yet his presence remained the axis around which the community turned. One morning, before dawn, Aquila summoned the younger eagle to the edge of the cliff. "The circle is no longer dependent," he said softly. "It breathes on its own." The younger eagle sensed what the words implied but resisted acknowledgement. "There is still more to learn," he replied. "There always will be," Aquila said. "That is the design." As the first light pierced the horizon, Aquila leapt. His ascent was not high, nor swift. It was steady, purposeful. He rode a narrow current upward, higher than he had flown in months. The circle watched in reverent silence. At the apex of his climb, Aquila tilted his wings, not in collapse, but in release. He allowed the wind to carry him beyond the ridge, beyond sight. No cry followed, no dramatic descent, only stillness. The younger eagle felt grief, sharp yet clarifying. But beneath it lay certainty. Altitude does not end with the departure of one who embodied it. It multiplies in those who continue. The expansion. In the years that followed, the ledge became one of many. Those mentored in the circle established new gatherings on distant cliffs. The principles traveled, face the wind, rest without quitting, rise with intention, return to lift others. The younger eagle, now older, often observed new circles forming in valleys once silent. He no longer needed to oversee each one. The culture sustained itself through shared conviction. Occasionally, he encountered resistance, birds who rejected growth, storms that scattered communities, seasons of decline. Yet the law remained consistent. Wings remember. Even after long grounding, even after seasons of fear, the architecture of ascent remained embedded. The horizon beyond. Late in his life, the younger eagle, no longer young, stood where Aquila once had. Below him, the valley shimmered in dusk light. Above him, the sky extended without visible boundary. He understood now that altitude is not destination but orientation. It is the continual decision to align with what is higher, truer, and more expansive than fear. He did not seek to be remembered. He sought only to remain faithful to the law that had shaped him. As twilight deepened, a new fledgling approached the ledge, uncertain, restless, carrying the familiar ache of unrealized flight. The elder eagle did not lecture. He stepped aside and made space on the edge. "Feel the wind," he said quietly. And the circle continued.